Well, hello, friends, family. Good to see you today. If you're here, let me know. Say hello in the comments. And then let's start today a little different. And in the past, I've shared with you a couple practical ways that you can just induce some positivity into your life. And I don't know if you've been practicing or not, but share one or two things that you're grateful for today, or share one or two things that happened that were great for you or good for you yesterday. Um, Share with us, if you will, what those look like. Hey, Will, good to see you. So yes, share one or two good things that happened to you yesterday. Maybe a little bit of reflection if you have it in mind as to what led to those good things happening for you, and or share one or two things that you're grateful for today. I'd appreciate that. And I'm certainly having a better day today. It's always energizing and motivating to come here and talk to you and those of you that join me regularly. Thank you. I am grateful for you. I know that that's cheating. It's easy, but I am grateful for you. And that was part of my reflection yesterday. So share those things with us if you will. And while you're typing those in or thinking about what those might be for you, we'll get started in just a moment. But I can't help but, I love that movie about Fred Rogers' life, right? The one with Tom Hanks, who did just an amazing job playing Fred Rogers. And I can't help but think when I come here and sit down this morning, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about what I might be discussing with you. And I have to give Jamie a shout out because she and I chatted a bit, and I landed on a couple things based on not directly related to our conversation, but just based on some thoughts that we shared, and it was super helpful. But I can't help but feel like Fred Rogers when I come here because, his life was all about sharing kindness with other people and providing messages of hope or inspiration, and just the simple act of kindness that he shared with the world is super impactful. And when I come here, I want to be able to impart kindness at the end of the day. If we could just walk away and be better to other people, be better to ourselves, then we'll go somewhere. At least that's my perspective. I think that's what we're missing, a lot of us. Maybe not you and I, but a lot of us are missing that. Jamie, good to see you. Thank you for the delightful distraction and conversation this morning. And in case you missed it, Jamie, I asked if you'd share just one or two things that you're grateful for, or one or two things that were good wins, not necessarily wins, but good things that occurred for you yesterday. Before we talked about the practice of recording 3 good things each day, and I encourage you to do that every day. Write down 3 good things that happened in your life and reflect on them. What contributed to bringing about those good things? What involvement did you or other people have? How can you achieve more of that good thing tomorrow? And if you aren't doing that, then I certainly encourage you to practice it. And just let me know in the Facebook group how that's going for you after you've done it for about a week or so. I'd love to hear the impact or the experiences that you've had as a result. So let's see. Will says he's grateful for technology. It allows me to maintain my relationship, even though he and Angela are separate hemispheres for a long period of time, huh? Yeah, I caught that. Angela said she's living in Korea again. So, and it also allows for this gathering of scholarly minds. Well, I guess if life's education is scholarly, I'll take it. I do have some college but I wouldn't count on that for anything. Here's a fun fact. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but most degrees should be issued with an expiration date. Think about that for a minute. Most degrees should come with an expiration date. When you sign up to go into digital marketing, or you sign up to go into becoming a lawyer, whatever it may be, what you learn while you're in the classroom, depending on the career field that we're talking about, is outdated before you ever graduate. Some of them have a lifespan of only 3, 5, maybe even up to 10 years, again, depending on what we're talking about. Why don't they issue those expiration dates? And so you have to do the hard work of learning, continuing to learn, whether that's formal education or through those experiences that we encounter in our lives every day. And I'll get started on our message here in just a second. I think, I try each day to listen to my heart and the world around me and stumble upon what I might share with you. And at the end of it all, it's meaningful to me, and I'm also, hoping that it's meaningful to you. So Jamie says, it was a great distraction yesterday. That was a pause, by the way. I'm grateful that my garden has decided to grow after a couple months, and I'm grateful for my relationship with my kiddo, but that doesn't count. Yes, it does. So another thing I'm grateful for is my health and the ability to go for a hike through nature. Yeah, well, I think you'll really like what I had to say today. And I need to do more hiking. I want to do more hiking. I shared with Jamie in our conversation earlier that I am still struggling to get back in touch with those childhood passions, the things that I had loved to do as a child or as a young man, young boy, whatever you want to call it. I'm still struggling with some of that. And so it's hard to know what's fun for me anymore. And that's a result of spending too much time devoting my attention to others' needs, right? It's time to get back in touch with who I really am. And that's what this whole journey has been about for me. And I'm thankful that I can share some of that with you. And Jamie, be careful driving. Don't be too distracted. So let me start in then on today's message. And thank you all for sharing the good things that have happened to you and what you're grateful for. It means a lot to me. So let me start with a quote. I like these quotes. It's becoming a thing. I hope that they're impactful and they seem to align with the messages that I'm sharing. So General MacArthur shared, security is your ability to produce. Now, that's relational because we come to view our jobs, our work, our careers, whatever you want to define them as a means of providing some semblance of security. But the truth is that security is, in fact, your own ability to be a producer. And it looks different for everybody. But let me ask you this, and if you can respond, great. If not, that's okay. But does that inspire you or scare you? Security is your ability to produce. Does that inspire you or scare you? While you're typing your answers or thinking on that one, Jamie shared another one with me from Ben Franklin that I think is fitting for today as well. It is, there are three things that are extremely hard: steel, diamonds, and to know oneself. So how do we get to know ourselves? Getting to know yourself, as I mentioned to some of you before, is 85% of what it takes to find or create work that's meaningful, purposeful, and profitable. But you have to be able to do the hard work. It's not easy, which is why Ben Franklin gave us that quote. I'm going to give you 3 things today that I hope will be helpful to you that you can start working on. The first one is comparisons. Stop making them. What people allow you to see isn't the same as the things that they don't. Instagram is a great example of this. I watch my daughter working hard, going around and round, trying to get just the right picture so that she can post it on Instagram. What her friends see is the life that she wants to portray in her image. But it doesn't show the hard work that it took to get that image. What happens inside of each of us is hard work. In our homes, it's hard work. In our families, it's hard work. But too often, we don't share that hard work with others, right? That's kind of what brings me here is we don't often see the story behind the scenes. What's really going on, the things that it takes to create, the things that it takes to build something. All we see is the picture of someone's life that we go, that looks nice. But we only let them see what we curate for them to see. And the same is true when we look at our own lives and when you look at their lives. So don't get caught up, rather avoid the comparison trap. That's number 1. Hello, Angela. Thank you for joining us. And Will says that that first quote was inspiring versus scary. So thank you for sharing that, Will. Hey, Pat, good to see you. So number 2, taking on others' problems as your own. This is a trap that too many people find themselves stuck in. And they say to themselves, or they justify it to themselves by saying, I'm too kind to say no to others. People come to me for advice. I don't want to turn them away. But if you're in a place where you aren't living your best life, it's time to look at what's healthy for you. You have to establish healthy boundaries. And Dr. Henry Cloud has a book called Boundaries Out. If you haven't read it, I'd encourage you to check it out. Hey, Pat, good to see you, my friend. So you have to establish healthy boundaries. Sometimes telling people no doesn't mean that you're actually being unkind. In fact, telling them no may be the kindest thing you can do for them. On the surface, it may not feel that way, I know. It might not appear that way. But you have to ask yourself, is what you're doing for them, number 1, healthy for you? And number 2, is it enabling certain behaviors in their lives, robbing them of their own opportunity to do the hard work? If you feel like sometimes you're too nice to say no, think about it that way. Have you ever had a friend or a family member who had come to you for support, financial or otherwise, and you agreed to help them only for them to wind up in a similar situation down the road and come back to you again? I like the old saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but teach a man to fish and you can feed him for a lifetime. How can you make a difference and impact in someone else's life if you're not in a place to make an impact in your own life? Just some things to ponder. Let's see. I'll go back to the comments here for a second, and then I'll give you number 3. Let's see. Pat says, this is true. We were talking about the comparison trap. Thank you, Pat. It's true about social media in general. Yes, it is, Will. It's true about life in general. People will often only let us see the things that they curate for us to see. Think about the people we see in the media, have been arrested for, abuse or murder or whatever else. And when they start examining all of the things that were happening behind the closed doors, is a whole different picture and a whole different story of what was really happening in their lives. And, it doesn't have to be that dramatic or that drastic. It can just be that we don't necessarily want to appear vulnerable. We don't want people to know that we are having to do hard work in our own life. We only want to celebrate those successes, and that's what people see. Small successes are the same, and we only really want people to see what we think they want to see in a lot of cases. So let's see here. And then, yeah, internet used to be anonymous. Now it's look at me, look at me, look at me. That's so true, Pat. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I'd never thought about it that way, saying no to helping. Yeah, so saying no can be the kindest thing you can do for someone else. If you're contributing, if your contribution is enabling, then it's certainly probably the best time to say no. And, you have to do the hard work yourself first. And if you're not there, saying no to someone else might seem difficult, but it's forcing them to also look, hopefully internally, to find their answers, right? You can't always depend on other people for the answers. So number 3, spend more time recreating or recreating or recreation. Same word, different pronunciations. Taking deliberate time for a walk, watching the sunset or rise, go on a hike, doesn't matter. Find something you haven't done before and give it a go. Last week, I painted a little flower pot here in our workspace. We had a little sip and paint thing, and I hadn't painted anything for, Lord, 20 years or more. And it felt good just to be able to sit down for a moment and take away from everything else and focus my time, my energy into that one thing. And it was something I hadn't done in so long. It felt good. And it just was able to help me refresh, reset, restore. Recreation, have fun, take time for you. By recreating or recreating, we can learn to create. By learning to have fun again, we can learn to be better. Be better for you so that you can then be better for those who are around you, those who depend on you, and those who are closest to you. And that, my friends, is my message for today. So let's chat. If you have something you'd like to talk about, something you want to share with the group, share that in the comments and we can talk about it briefly. If you need to go for some reason, then I appreciate you being here as always. Let's see here. Pat says, it's true. I think a lot of folks create a facade online of what they want their lives to be like. Absolutely, Pat. They need to take a deeper look within to find the connection or how to cross that bridge. I agree. We post pictures of our new trucks or our new toys or whatever else, our new houses. In your case, new roofs, maybe. We post pictures of that because that's what we want people to see. We don't want people to see the financial burden that's placed on us and that we're not sure how we're going to pay next month's rent. We want to show people that we are better than we might actually be at the moment. That's what we're trying to show people. And I'm here to keep it real with you, right? That's not me. By the way, I drive a 2014 Toyota Camry. It's paid for. It was paid for when I bought it, and I'm okay with it. I'd rather have a nice truck. Yes, I miss my truck, but I'll take what I can have for now and continue working on it day by day. And Angela says, yeah, a person's growth isn't confined to their childhood. No, absolutely not, Angela. And Pat says, exactly. Yes. Hey, thanks you guys for sharing. Excuse me. What else do we have? Congratulations. Congratulations to who? For what? Thank you, Pat. Let's see. So it's okay to say no to helping somebody, is what I was trying to say. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely okay. In fact, I encourage you to say no to helping someone if what you're helping them with is enabling them, or if you have to take time to do the hard work for yourself so that you can better help them in the future. Does that make sense? Mm. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, it took a mentality shift to get there. A car on no payment. So, I I was a financial coach, personal financial coach, for a period of time, both while I was still in active duty and shortly after I left the military. I follow the principles of Dave Ramsey, and it took a while to get there, but was impactful. And I can tell you that you can live life without a car payment. I'm here to tell you it is true. You do not have to suffer the car payment. And if anyone's curious on how they can get there, the things they need to do to align their finances in their lives, I'm happy to talk to you about that as well. Um, Although I don't actively do financial coaching, I'm certainly willing to jump on the phone or on a Zoom call and walk through some key things. And then if you need someone to help you with any of that, I can certainly put you in touch with some active coaches. Let's see. Yeah, that's a great point, Pat. It is hard to transition your life to those principles, but I can tell you, I'm here just to share personally that if you commit to applying those principles, like many other principles, to your life, it will work. They do work. I'm living testimony that it does work. Now, some things have changed due to circumstances, relationship stuff, and the transition from the military. And I'm not where I'd like to be, but I don't have a car payment, and I'm working on rebuilding the rest. So, um, yeah, those principles, like the principles I'm sharing with you, I'm finding that they're working. The more I get in touch with myself, the more opportunities I run into with work, and building what I'm trying to build here. The principles work. And, the 48 days principles, on a side note, have been proven in thousands of lives. So that's plenty of living testimony. And I talk to people every day. We have a community called 48 Days Eagles. And if anybody would like that, I do have a referral link. Um, if you'd like to join that community, let me know. But the 48 Days Eagles community are all people on the same journey, right? There's artists, there's authors, there's musicians, there's all kinds of people who are looking at their lives and they're wondering how in the hell they got where they are. And not that they don't know the steps that got them there, but they don't like where they are. They don't like where they find themselves today. And there's so many comments that have been shared about how they felt when they first encountered the 48 days opportunities. Just in reading Dan Miller's book, 48 Days to the Work You Love, they share those comments about what their life felt like at the moment that they realized they need to do something to change. And it's inspiring. I see them every day. And that's, it keeps me going. It's what led me here to you. It's all of the things, right? That process, though, is eye-opening. And when I started preparing to deliver the seminar, and I'm still preparing to deliver the seminar, but when I started that process, I realized as I went through the material how much I actually needed to listen to it myself and prepare it in my own life in order to continue moving forward. And I'll tell you, as soon as I did, I had 2 new client calls and book within the next day. And you know, when you speak things to the world, sometimes it enables you to be more free and do things that you should be doing. And when I decided that I was chasing the wrong business for the wrong reasons and made this shift, I haven't even updated my website yet. Still need to do that. I'm procrastinating just a bit on that because I have other work I'm doing, thankfully. But I haven't shifted my own work yet, and in the forward facing stuff, and I still have people contacting me about the new service offerings that I have. So it's really good. But it took me doing some internalization, as I think that's what started this whole conversation with you 3 weeks ago, maybe. Yeah. So I don't see any more comments, but I appreciate all of you being here as always. I look forward to this time with you each day. And when you're able to join me, it's reflected in your comments and your appreciation over the things that we discuss. So with that, I hope that you have a wonderful afternoon, wonderful morning, whatever it is for you. And feel free to reach out to me directly if something I've said has caused you to think about anything and you want to discuss. Share in the Facebook community that we have. What is it? Captions. Yep, the Clarity Collective. I don't know. I couldn't remember that for a minute. Yeah, feel free to share in there. We can continue the conversation there as well. Thanks for sharing, Angela. Pat, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for everything. All right. Well, y'all have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow.